saying that you go ahead, don't threaten, just do it. Just do it, Nike. Anyway, but that's on the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
That Amidi story is also on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Fight against corruption, public officials make work tough. Martin Amidi threatens action against Attorney General. Other stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Occupy Ghana demands investigation into a Afoko bail issue. Maslock presents buses to GPRTU under hire purchase agreement. Eka Energy secures $100 million for Deepwater Tunnel oil project. Back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Nigeria, Tunisia in battle of eagles today. Those are the major stories on the Daily Graphic.
Now, the new Crusading Guide is reporting this morning challenges of the Office of Special Prosecutor in fighting corruption is there, and Anas pays homage to Bako, Kofi Kumsin, Pratt, and other people for outstanding works in journalism in this country. Franka J. Others get honorary doctorate degrees. That's on the front page of the new Crusading Guide too. There's one about a new political party that a pastor has actually gained. Ghana's United Movement. The EC has given it a green light, and because of that, the new Crusading Guide is saying that the NDC and the MPP are edgy.
Wait. It's GUM.
Yes, Ghana United Movement.
Chewing gum. Or...
You know, Yakubu party was United Ghana Movement, UGM, but you know they have converted.
I like the gum. I like the gummy bit, the gummy bell.
But what we know for sure is that MPP and NDC are never going to be on any edge because of.
If they're on an edge, they can have some chewing gum.
That's the Crusading Guide, right? I have the Daily Guide newspaper. NDC on rampage over vigilante killing. 83 Maslock buses for GPRTU. Nana K. Jesse gets doctorate. Otumfor set to plant 2.5 million trees, and chief slaughtered ram, not human being. That's the police insisting.
Now, the Daily Statesman is reporting this morning NPA gas cylinder pilot to launch in Ashanti and Easton. That's on the front page of the paper. The president in my corner, Amidu, on fighting corruption. Mohammed's Maslock mess is cleared, and state pays 53.5% of subsidy on bloated contract for 83 GPRTU buses. And you know that case is still in court, right? Mm-hmm. The Maslock matters there. Absolutely. And that's on the front page of the Daily Statesman.
The Ghanaian Observer newspaper has Guta Hill's government as 50% reduction in benchmark value yields results. The Matiamidi story is here. Ukraine University Anrin Frank J. is also here. Raymond read that earlier. Those are the unpunished of officers who flouted focused bail orders. That's from the statement issued yesterday by pressure group Occupy Ghana.
Now, the Finder is reporting this morning very terrible news out there. 1,252 perished in accidents, and this is the last 6 months of the year, from January to June of this year that we are counting.
The first half of the year.
Yes, first half of the year. 1,252 people dying, and 1.2 million new voters have been registered by the Electoral Commission. There's one about developing modern maritime strategy. This according to Dr. Kwesi Enin, and he's telling government that that's the way forward if you want to secure your borders.
The Chronicle newspaper has Rollins Rider battles for life transferred to Rich Hospital. Drop that chamber soldier stripped off his rank. Public universities shifting focus. That's MPs saying. And as I see NDC youth breathe fire and brimstone.
Let's begin, Raymond, with the shocking statistics of road accidents.
So, on the average, what we are saying is that 7 people died every single day in the last 6 months. 7 people, Ghanaian. That could constitute an entire family, because the average family in this country is 5, actually. Mm-hmm. And that's how serious the condition is. It is 3.3% higher than what happened within the same period in 2018. And you'll be asking yourself, what then happened to our stepped up Road Safety Commission and all the other groupings, the interministerial committee's direction on what should be done and all of that? What happened to them that we are still losing people on our streets and our major highways and all of that? Now, it's important we note that there are still people in this country who are very indisciplined on the roads.
Very true.
We can't take that away.
Very true.
The ordinary Ghanaian driver, especially those of the commercial nature, do not believe in the laws of the state at all. In fact, it's a jungle on the streets of this country, especially when a traffic light is not working, Two, the people find that it's raining or there are other emergencies that they want to deal with. They always want to misbehave. And when the policeman is watching, we have some of these incidents happen. It's not shocking that, of course, more men are dying in these accidents than women in the first place. The accidents involve more commercial vehicles than private vehicles, and more of these are also being the ones who are casualties at the end of the day. The pedestrian knockdowns are also on the increase. 1,503. Of course, that's an increase from last year's own, and that's also another worry that we should be taking care of. The motorists, in this case, the motorbikes, the people who run them, and this one does not separate the Okada from the other ones.
Private use.
Yes, it doesn't separate that. The motorbikes are increasingly also contributing to accidents in ways that are also troubling. So perhaps you should pay attention to that section too and deal with it appropriately. And as we need to stress the people of this republic, Okada, as in commercial use of motorbikes, according to LI 2180, is still outlawed.
So the question about that law has been, is it convenient? Does it fit Ghana's context, which is still a debate that is out there? But anyway, Malik,
if it's not, let's go and amend the law.
Exactly, good question there. But Malik, this video of a chief slaughtering a human being, or
yeah, so you remember this video that emerged where a woman recorded an incident at the back of a chief who was on his knees and holding a cutlass, and she claims that the chief was slaughtering a young boy for ritual purposes. And in fact, in that video recording, she claimed that the chief was in bed with the police and that he was allowed to do as he pleased, and that he also bought everybody in that area. And this is Heman in the Ashanti region. And the chief involved here is Nana Apau Ababiu Sawansa. This is the chief of Heman. The video recording claimed that the chief had bought everybody, was in bed with the police, was allowed to do whatever he wants, and therefore he was arrogantly and publicly slaughtering a boy for ritual purposes. The police in Ashanti say this is palpably false, that they have conducted investigations into the claims of the lady. They have found them to be utterly untrue, and so they've actually arrested the lady. She's assisting the police with investigation. But ASP Godwin Ahianyo, who is Ashanti Region Police PRO, says that this is absolutely false, and that the police conducted thorough investigation into the woman's allegations, and they found out that the allegations are utterly false. There's actually a photograph which has been published by the Daily Guide, and clearly you could see that the chief was slaughtering an animal and not a human being as claimed by the lady in the video.
Yes, so I saw the picture. I saw the video. Someone sent me the video on Facebook, and the video I saw was too unclear for me to say that the person, because it was taken from behind.
From the behind, yes,
the chief,
behind
and
the chief.
He was bent over something, cutting, definitely killing something. But this picture seems to have been taken from a closer range, and it's indeed an animal like the woman.
Yeah, this is one of the situations where publishing false news with the intent to cause fear and panic may be an apt, what they call it, description of the case now. Because really, it really created some panic that in this country, broad daylight, we could be slaughtering another human being. And of course, some of this is contribute to people feeling insecure, and how it has rippling effects on how we even conceive society. Indeed, it could even be people could react to it, assuming the community and the young men are told that this is what happened.
Exactly.
Without them verifying the information.
Could have actually gone to attack the chief.
Very good. Without having to verify the information and proceeding to get the facts right.
But how do you establish intent here? That's
with the intent,
of
course, the woman knew that
was caused fear and panic, but
yes,
establishing the intent.
But she knew it was not a human being.
Did she? That's a question.
Of course, I mean, how can you be publishing this?
But did she know it was not a human being? Is what I'm saying. She was standing far away.
Except she perceived the biblical intent that a human being converted into a lamb in this particular case. I mean, without that, how else could it have been?
Okay, in the case of Abrewan Kwanta, an actual woman was killed.
Yes, a woman was killed, and this is the fourth in the last 1 month. That's what raised the concerns of the people about serial killing. You know, yesterday I described how these women are somehow accosted, they are killed. You can see parts of their body with incisions, small cuts made there, and yet nothing is taken from them. Their bags are intact, their clothes are intact. Sometimes they are even wearing their shoes. So that's what alarmed the people in this community, which is within the Koforidia municipality, to be clear. And that is what's also getting the police to work. Already, we know the police has arrested 2 people. The woman's a 24-year-old anyway. The police has arrested 2 people. Francis Togbega, he's 36, and Idi Mohammed is also 30. Of course, the Idi guy is known as Colombia. and they've charged them with murder and remanded them in police custody, assisting with investigations so far. Now, how did they get them arrested? They connected the woman and the people that used the stretch to this incident because this wasn't the first time that anybody had been. And again, these are known criminals in the area. And these known criminals were said to have been looking for specifically something from the woman. They didn't get it, but ended up killing this woman at the end of the day. The police is still looking for other people. They suspect that there is some form of a grouping operating within the municipality which is doing some of these things. Their motive they are here to be clear on. Of course, investigation is still ongoing, but this is a good note because some of these things have slipped under the radar.
Yes.
Even when people have complained that these incidents are happening consistently in their communities, you've not heard much from the law enforcement agencies. Mm-hmm. They only say that, we are investigating, are looking for people and all of that. But it's good news that that's within a matter of almost within a matter of 24 hours, we've had a response from the police in a positive light. Hopefully, they can extend it to other issues across the country.
Kudos to the police seeing proactivity in this arrest and also the statements on the slaughtering of that ram there. So there is some good work being done there. But this other issue of Gregory Afoko.
Yes, and yesterday we had extensive discussion on the Super Morning Show about what happened to Gregory Afoko after a court of law granted him bail on March 14 to be specific, 2019, and yet he was kept in detention. Occupy Ghana issued a statement yesterday, and subsequently, one of the leading members, Isam Kumar, spoke to MFR Apple on the Midday News. And Occupy Ghana's argument essentially is that they are asking for a full and impartial investigation into the apparent refusal of the state to comply with the bail order which was granted by Justice George Buidi of the High Court. And Occupy Ghana says that any person who is found culpable as being responsible for failing to comply with the court orders, a court of competent jurisdiction, as we like to say, a court of law granted him bail. If it's proven that he met the bail conditions and yet was held or detained in violation of the court order, the persons there ought to be punished. He says the Occupy Ghana's argument is that the refusals should be deemed as repugnant to the Constitution because every person is entitled to the constitutionally guaranteed right to a presumption of innocence until proven guilty. Now, if somebody is supposed to enjoy that right, a court of law granted the person bail, you have no basis to keep the person in disregard of the bail which has been granted by the person. And this is the reason why Occupy Ghana is saying, after the investigations, if Gregory exercises his constitutional right and brings a suit against the state and wins that case and damages are supposed to be paid, those damages should come from the pockets of the state agencies who acted in violation of the orders of the court.
So here's the thing. There are two separate cases that we are dealing with.
Absolutely.
Number one is the March issue.
The March 14th.
The March 14th,
bail.
thank you. Where court granted Gregory Afoko bail, and we are being told that he met the conditions to bail later, and he was still not released. That's the 500,000.
That's a separate matter. 500,000, two sureties, one to be guaranteed, justified.
Separate from what happened a couple of days ago in court when he was not granted bail in what we are told is a fresh case. Mm-hmm. That also is a point under contention. Some are arguing that this is not a fresh case, and that the fresh case will rather be called today.
In fact, there are even those who claim that even the March 14th bail that was granted him, that he did not meet the bail conditions. The counter question is that if he did not meet the bail conditions, why was the IGP cited for contempt? The IGP was cited for contempt because the bail conditions were met. The court confirmed that, and yet Gregory Afoko was detained.
Yes, indeed. So today we'll continue with that conversation. The president of the Ghana Bar Association, Tony Forson, will be joining us. We'll also be speaking to Kweku Asare, Professor Stephen Kweku Asare, who himself is a lawyer. As well as a professor of accounting. I must put that out.
And a consummate fighter for our constitutionality.
When it comes to the Constitution and its defense, Prof is one of our bastions. I'm coming back to you, Raymond, because non-communicable diseases are killing 70% of the entire population in the world.
And if you narrow them down to specific ones, let's look at the ones that are important, like heart disease, stroke, cancer, and diabetes. These four have become the biggest problems we have in the country. According to the head of the non-communicable disease unit at the Ghana Health Service, we do have a big problem because the main factors that are driving them are: one, tobacco use; 2, physical inactivity, as in barely not moving and actually engaging in exercises enough. And the next one is about the harmful use of alcohol and unhealthy diets. If you put all of these 4 together, they've driven non-communicable diseases from before the 1950s being a small contributor to the deaths in this country to becoming the largest contributor to people dying in this country. And plans have been put together at a 3-day strengthening of policy workshop by the Ministry of Health and the GHS to deal with the problem, especially alcoholic use in this country. They believe that we have underrated the numbers that are abusing alcohol. We have consistently not have them reported to the hospitals because I don't know if you still have is it Alcoholic Anonymous? Do they have meetings like that in this country?
In this country?
Yes, I have not seen anything like that.
Anyway, I can't speak for them. You're looking at my face like I should know. I can't speak for them.
So the dealing of alcohol, for example, is becoming a problem. So we ought to put together a better.
Oh,
no, because there's a group. There's a group. Yes.
He has this friend who is the
this dry
president
bone
of,
guy.
What's that? Drunkards Association.
Yes. Like, you're very, very thin line. You know what, Raymond? Can we move on the story?
Yeah, the report is just saying that the amount of people who belong to the Drunkards Association that have officially written their names to be part of the list. So we need to get them properly treated for the conditions that they are suffering so that we can improve the health of the people in the country.
So the association has to register all its members and account for them. Now, Maslach presented some 83 buses to the Ghana Private Road Transport Union.
Finally.
Yes, finally.
After those buses were abandoned for years.
Absolutely. These buses were procured in 2016, were procured and were meant to be distributed to a GPRTU. The GPRTU refused to take them because the prices were simply too high. The cost of a bus, as previously was decided by Maslach at the time, was 705,550 Ghana cedis for a 33-seater bus. 705,000. That's more than half a million Ghana cedis for a 33-seater bus. The GPRTV argued at the time this was unsustainable. It was practically impossible for them to take these buses and to be able to work and pay. So what the government has done is to cut the price by 53.5%, thereby reducing the price from 705,000 to 328,000. And the chief of staff who presented the buses said that they had conducted investigations. They found out that the prices were simply outrageous and that there was no way GPRT was going to be able to pay for them.
My question, how much do we buy the buses for? How much do we buy the buses for? And how come we have had to cut it down by about half?
More than half.
By more than half, in order it goes back to the procurement.
Yeah, that's true.
How it was procured.
That's true, and that was reviewed. I remember that one of the Maslach cases before court includes some of these actions that were said to have been done by the previous people.
And in fact, in our investigations, in Joint Institute's investigation into this matter, we actually found out that the GPRTU actually warned Maslach. They told Maslach to buy the buses from a particular dealer. Maslach didn't do that. Maslach bought from another dealer,
which was more
expensive. And even the quality and the brand of the vehicles for them was actually lower than what they recommended to Maslach to buy.
Okay, before we go online, Raymond, sanitation and people are being jailed.
Yes. Now, 2 people who could not pay the fines imposed on them for littering have been jailed. They've been given specific jail terms of up to 10 months in jail in this particular case. But what is more interesting to me is that in tandem with Section 100 Clause 5 of the Public Health Act of 2012, which said that women who are selling food products and foodstuff ought not to sell under unhygienic conditions. Now, women have been fined, and 8 of them, they have been fined for specific ones, including selling beside insanitary drains, displaying of foodstuff on bare ground, and exposing food to flies and other contaminants, as well as trading on public drains.
But Raymond, fundamental question. So the public drains are unsanitary drains, right?
Yes.
We are punishing the women who are selling by the drains, but the assemblies whose responsibility it is to ensure that the drains are not in unsanitary condition, what do you do to them?
Good question, Malik. And those are some of the questions that we'll be dealing with today. Today we're also dealing with sanitation on the Super Morning Show. So you want to stay with us on that as well. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Girl Good Energy. You guys know that Christine Lagarde has resigned.
Yes.
The IMF boss. It's serious. Okay. It's on the online news review. I'll be reading that very, very shortly. Make your day productive by relying on quality fuel from Goil, your 3-time CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Goil Super XP and Diesel XP are additivated to enhance strong engine performance and prolong the lifespan of your vehicle. Above all, you're guaranteed extra quality with our fuel analyzer from our mobile laboratory van. Get your money's worth every day by buying fuel and lubricants from any of Goil's over 360 service stations nationwide and experience good energy. Buy Goil. Grow Ghana. Goil. Good energy. Goil. Yenara Yedia. Now, when it comes to traveling with ease and comfort, Zenith Bank's wide array of MasterCard and Visa cards will help you do just that. There are over 33 million Visa and MasterCard branded ATMs worldwide. You can use them anywhere. You can use them on the internet for online purchase and payment, in-shop for payments of goods and services, and at all Zenith Bank ATMs and on all local and international POS or retail outlets that accepts Visa and MasterCard. Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interests.
My level up. It's back. Maybe today I don't get nothing.
Yeah, this is still the online news review, but we are starting with Shatta Wale, who is trending number 1 in Ghana and number 8 worldwide after it's emerged that Beyonce is featuring him on her new album. Congratulations to Shatta Wale. Of course, also, this on My Joy Online. You want to read that story? They're also on myjoyonline.com. Justice Shremsai explains why the AG is to blame for a focused legal pickle. We'll be speaking very soon to the GBA president on this one. And like I said earlier, the managing director and chairman of the board of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, has resigned. Now, she wrote a letter to the members of the board saying her resignation takes effect on September 12th, the likely date for her hearing before the Economic Commission of the European Parliament. BBC.com has the battle to separate Safa and Marwa. We'll be back very, very shortly to do with the Gregory Afoko legal pickle, as it's called. Stay with us. We'll be right back.